What's up gamers, DreamcastGuy here, talking today about Destiny 2's DLC. How am I talking about something that's not coming out for months? Because somebody's already posting it online. Yes, that's right, even though this game isn't technically even released, we already know all sorts of really important details about who we're going to save and who we're going to be fighting in the expansion. This is a really ridiculous problem in my opinion, because Destiny 2 is supposed to be this giant jump forward. The original game, when it released in 2014, had a lot of problems, and only by releasing tons of patches and tons of paid DLC did it finally become actually pretty awesome. They introduced new characters, killer cutscenes, and all new raids, along with crazy cool guns, but this was all such heavily paid content. If you just want to play the original Destiny now, it's almost impossible. You need basically $80 of add-on content to get the full experience. And unfortunately, it looks like we could be walking down that exact same path already with Destiny 2, and it's not officially released. The fact that we now know for a fact that Bungie is already heavily done with a chunk of the expansion shows that they're already figuring out exactly how to dice up content. This is ridiculous to me because I'm someone who grew up playing a lot of MMORPGs, which is what originally they were pretending Destiny was. If you look at the marketing, they were saying that this was a first-person shooter, multiplayer, massive online experience. They wanted this to be an MMORPG, and yes, I know I got the massive and multiplayer out of order, but it doesn't feel like one. While the gameplay is extremely tight, my problem is the fact that the DLC doesn't really fit the typical method of a big, awesome MMO. I played a lot of World of Warcraft all through high school and into what would have been my college years if I went to college. And what was really fun about it is that every time an expansion came out, it would fundamentally rewrite the entire game. When you went through the Dark Portal and went through into the Burning Crusade expansion pack, you were literally on another planet. You were going against crazy monsters and hunting down all new, incredibly complicated bosses. It was such a reward to buy that. It was an experience that was undeniably awesome. Whereas when I'm buying stuff in DLC, it feels almost like a Call of Duty map pack at times. It just feels like more maps, a couple extra PvP areas, and maybe an extra social spot. But it's not an evolution of the game. It's not a leap forward so much as it's a sidestep in the same universe. When I was really into the original Destiny back in about 2015, I liked it because I kept thinking more was over the horizon. You know, I've played a ton of Diablo 2. It's a game that's very near and dear to my heart. In fact, even looking at these old screenshots still just brings back so many memories. I played as the Necromancer so much. And the reason I always really love to think back about this is because of its awesome freaking expansion. This was just a normal, cheap expansion, but it revolutionized the game. It changed it by adding in not only new classes, but also all new areas, all new story stuff, and a completely new ending. I like that because it basically made it where if you were playing Diablo, now you had an all new awesome version of Diablo. And that was fantastic. I kept hoping during all my years with Destiny that we'd get something like this. If this is supposed to be an MMO, why couldn't we get something that's MMO in this style? It seems like Bungie is trying to keep this project on such a short leash. They're afraid of going too outside this tiny little circle because they don't want to push away any audience. But by doing that, by not being daring and trying something extremely weird, they're ended up isolating their audience. They're not doing anything crazy enough to get any headlines. And that just seems like a shame. Like, reading all the detailed notes of what we're going to be doing in the first DLC for Destiny 2 in December, it doesn't seem that great. It's just more Destiny. In fact, Destiny 2 basically just seems like Destiny 1 DLC on its own. I keep wanting this to be a big chunk of new stuff. At least be as something as cool as Borderlands. When you played the DLC for Borderlands and Borderlands 2, they were absolute insanity. You know, you're suddenly fighting dragons and playing through a Dungeons and Dragons game where your dungeon master is absolutely crazy. That was something that you wanted to buy, and a lot of times it was so epic, new people ended up finding the game and buying it just because of the word-of-mouth hype about how weird this DLC is. Destiny needs that kind of hype. It needs that kind of pressure, that next big leap, and it just doesn't seem like they'll ever make it. Deep down, I guess I really just keep hoping for something as awesome as Bioshock Infinite's DLC. You know, I feel like in order to properly make add-on content, you need time. You need to wait. You need to forget everything you learned by making the first game, that way your expansion is totally different. The Burial at Sea story add-on pack for Bioshock Infinite is a masterpiece. It is absolutely amazing, and it makes me actually look at the entire game differently than I did originally. Most games aren't willing to do that anymore. There's this obsession with getting out add-on content as fast as possible, even if it's really, really bad or actually a slice of what would have been the main game. For all we know, this piece of new add-on content for Destiny 2 could be the actual ending, but we won't even know unless somebody is willing to pay for it. And these price tags seem to go up every single year. The initial add-on packs for Destiny 1 were $20, $20, and then $40. It's annoying to me that they just keep trying to up the ante and pull people a little bit deeper into their world by swiping their credit card and then pushing them into a new dungeon. I kind of wish that we had some sort of rule that required that there be at least 6 months between when your game comes out and when you release DLC. Now that sounds crazy, but the reason I want that specifically is I want the community to be able to establish itself, and I want the game developers to be able to patch it and level out some of the early balancing issues. You know, I'm really excited for the Call of Duty World War II release coming up in November, and I'm probably realistically going to buy the Season Pass because I want to see all those add-on maps. But I don't like the idea of just having them come out super fast. I want a gap. I want to have some time to enjoy the first experience before I'm thrown into the next one. And I feel like more and more game developers are terrified of the idea that they're terrified that you will just go like this and trade in your game to GameStop, and therefore they'll lose their sale. They're so afraid of the fact that even if you bought the Season Pass, you're not going to play it, that they're just trying to throw out anything they can. Even Shadow of Mordor is already stacking up so much Day 1 DLC that it's just immoral. But this has just been my totally random rambling thoughts. I've been playing a lot of Destiny this last few weeks, preparing for my Destiny 2 review, which will be up Wednesday, but it's just such a messy situation. I very much look back fondly of the old days when an expansion pack really changed the game for the better, and now that's not really the case. Well guys, what do you think of it? Are you okay with the fact that DLC is getting cheaper but is a little bit more bite-sized, or do you want the olden days where you got one big expansion pack every year but it was a bombshell of content? Let me know in the comments down below. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, share with your friends, and subscribe if you haven't already. But do me the biggest favor of all and keep dreaming. Alright, now I gotta secretly get back to work on my Destiny 2 review, so if you guys would just go away, I gotta finish my video. Get out of here. Oh, hi. I'm just working on the next video. If you want to see what it is, go ahead and click this button and you can subscribe. Also, if you click these video links, you can see my latest review and my latest top 10. Now I'm just going to sit here for a minute and wait for you to subscribe. Oh, I guess I could put on these giant glasses. I literally found these on a roller coaster.